Here's a different kind of snack stick. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to make a chicken snack stick. We're going to use a really classic chicken flavor profile, and the key parts are going to be fat content and flavor. Here's where we ended up, but let me show you how we got here. For our chicken sausage, we're going to be using chicken thighs. The best way, the cheapest way to purchase these is skin on, bone in. So that's what I did. I grabbed 4 packages, so we have a nice batch size, but we still need to break out the bones. So that's what we're going to do first. And each one of these has the skin on top and then the bone underneath. So we need to go in and cut on either side of the bone. And then from underneath, we work our way out and back. Bone out, and now we have a boneless chicken thigh. When you're making sausage, you want to have a good amount of fat content. So to do that, we're going to be leaving the skin on these thighs for the grinding process. Skin is made up of mostly fat, so that's going to be increasing our moisture and helping with our texture. I am going to cut these down to grinder size pieces, and we'll set them on our tray. We got all of our thighs broken down, deboned, a little bit of the skin off, some of those discolorations, and now we're ready to set this in the freezer so it can firm up a little bit before our grinding process. So as this is freezing, I'm going to get some bacon rendering as well. I've got some nice thick cut bacon here, and we're just going to roughly chop this because we're going to render this down so we have nice inclusion pieces to go into our snack sticks. Now I thought this bacon would be a nice inclusion, obviously because we're going for a bacon ranch flavor profile, but it's also going to add a nice little bit of texture along with the high-temp cheddar. Should add a lot of really good flavor on top of it too. While our bacon renders, I'm also going to get our grinder parts in the freezer to get a good chill on them. When we make sausage, we want to make sure every part is cold. We're going to chill the bacon. We've got our chicken in the freezer chilling. We also want our grinder parts with a good chill so that we avoid any smearing. We want good fat and protein particle separation until we're ready to bind them and get our protein extraction. We rendered our bacon, strained out the fat, and again, we want this to be nice and cool when we add it to our meat block. So we'll lay this flat out on a sheet tray. We'll set this in the fridge to cool down completely before we incorporate. We have a good chill on our chicken thighs, so we're ready to start grinding. The advantage of using chicken when you're making sausage is you really only have to grind it once. It's pretty tender and it breaks down really easily. So we have our grinder set up with a 3/16 inch plate or a 4.5 millimeter, depending on what size you have, and we're ready to start grinding. We're ready to start mixing, so we need to start weighing out our inclusions. For our snack sticks, we're going to be using our 296 Bacon Ranch Brat seasoning. This is designed for a fresh brat, but we're using it in a smoked product, so we're going to have to add some pink cure as well. If you order this blend, it'll come packaged like this, and it is designed for a 25-pound meat block. What we're making today is 12.5 pounds, so we need to weigh out half of this so it's an appropriate amount to season our meat. So we're going to add this right into our meat block. When making a cured or smoked sausage, you use about 28 grams of pink cure to 25 pounds of meat. Again, we're doing about half of that, so I need 14 grams of speed cure. Lastly, we're going to add a bit of moisture in the form of distilled water to our meat block. This is going to help lubricate and disperse the seasonings throughout while we're mixing, and it's going to add a little moisture to our final product. I like to use about 1 ounce per pound, so we're going to go for 12 ounces of water. I mix this together with our speed cure so that it dissolves and helps distribute a lot better. You're using a real little amount of speed cure, so you want to make sure it's well distributed throughout your product. I'm just stirring in the pink cure so that dissolves. It takes about a minute, and then once you can't see all those little granules anymore, I'll be ready to pour it in. Let's get mixing. The last two things we need to add for our inclusions on our snack stick are our high-temp cheddar cheese and our rendered bacon. Our high-temp cheese is going in at a rate of 10%. So here I have 1¼ pounds, and our bacon is going in at about a 4% inclusion rate. I started with 3 pounds raw, cooked it down, and this is what I'm left with. It's not really a full inclusion. We just want a little extra boosted bacon flavor and a little texture on our bite. So we'll add these in. And when we mix these in, we don't have to go too crazy. We just want a good distribution. We've already done most of the heavy lifting for the protein extraction. So once we get these mixed, we'll be ready to stuff. Yeah, our meat block is already nice and tacky, which means our protein and our fat has started to bind together, and that'll help in the cooking process so that we don't have any bleed out and we have a nice texture for our final product. I'm really liking the smell of this though. I'm very excited to see how these turn out. I think with the bacon flavor and then the smoke process that we're gonna go through, we should have a really nice smoky bacon flavor in our final snack stick. And the cheddar should add some creaminess, and I think we're there. So that is really nice and tacky, which means, again, our protein extraction is there. So we're ready to load up the stuffer and start filling our casings. Loading in our meat block into our stuffer is the same as any other sausage. We're gonna load it in the center of the hopper and push it out towards the walls. And this will help us eliminate as many air pockets as possible. Start to press the plunger down, and you can see the meat block come through the horn here. So we'll bring that to about 90%. Back off the pressure, and we'll start loading on our casings. All stuffed, and we have our snack sticks broken down into smaller sections so that they sit nicely on a sheet tray for the curing process, and so that they fit nicely into our smoker when we're ready to process. We do need to let these cure overnight. The seasoning blend we're using does not contain sodium erythorbate as many of our snack stick blends do. Sodium erythorbate is a cure accelerator which will allow you to go straight from case to smoker and not have any issues. We do need to let these rest overnight to allow the cure to develop so we don't have any toxin issues with our nitrite. So into the fridge we go, and we'll see you tomorrow for smoking day. After letting our snack sticks cure overnight, we set them up in the smoker to start with a drying cycle. This drying cycle ran at 100 degrees with our dampers wide open for an hour. The drying cycle will pull some moisture off of the casings, which will then allow them to absorb smoke a little better during the smoking process. After our initial drying process, we started ramping up the temperature every hour, including adding a smoke cycle. We want to bring up the temperature slowly so that we don't shock the meat. If we started at a temperature that was too high, we could potentially melt the fat, and that would create separation and a crumbly final product. After about 7-hour total cook time, we removed our sticks once they reached an internal temperature of 160 degrees. Now I know that classic number for chicken is 165 degrees, but remember, we did go through a curing process with these snack sticks. That allows us to cook to a slightly lower temperature. After all that, we pulled them out of the smoker and shocked them in an ice bath for about 30 minutes to bring that temperature down rapidly. Then we dried them off a little bit and threw them in the fridge to cool completely overnight. Now it's time to cut them up and give them a try. After 2 days, we're finally ready to taste our snack sticks. Appearances alone, I'm really happy with the quality of our sticks. You can see we have a nice red color from our mahogany casings. We've got some good particulates that you can see inside. So we've got our cheddar, little pieces of bacon in there as well. And throughout the casing here, you can see the little flakes of parsley, which look really nice and give it some definition. Great, great cook on these. We had a beautiful snap from the casing. We got lots of smoke flavor, which is really important in a snack stick, I think. I think that's what sets apart the homemade from the store-bought. The salt levels are perfect. Good amount of ranch with that tanginess of the buttermilk, the creaminess of the cheddar, and then obviously that bacon flavor throughout the entire snack stick. Really full flavor profile here. Very, very good. Open her up, and look at that. Lots of cheese throughout, and you can see the little bacon particulates as well. Looks like it's really well distributed. We got a good color on the inside, thanks to our cure and our smoke process. So So I'm really happy with the way this stick turned out. One of the concerns when making a chicken snack stick can be texture, but I think we got enough fat in our product to hold and bind together to make a really good final product. Overall, really happy with the way this turned out, so I would highly recommend, if you're looking for something a little different, to step up your snack stick game. If you're curious about the details of this recipe, click the link below. And if you really like the video, please click subscribe for lots more content. And as always, you can check us out on all forms of social media. Until next time, I'm Chef Jed. Thanks for watching.